Hello, everybody out there in YouTube. We are the middle-aged guys, and we are going to go ahead and give you a spoiler review for Avengers Endgame. Yes, we know it's a week late, and that's the reason why it's a spoiler review. If you're one of the few people who haven't added to that almost 1.6 or almost 2 billion total that they made worldwide, well, I don't know what to say about that, but fair warning, okay? Before we get into it, let's get the introductions out of the way. I'm the Reverend.
The theme here. I'm Grey Mouse One.
Avengers Endgame, the sum ending to a total of 22 movies and 11 years of the Marvel Cinematic Universe on screen for all of us to go ahead and enjoy. Hit theaters all the way back on, I believe it was
April 26th.
April 26th, 2019. I was about to say 19 for some reason. I had like a flashback to fucking high school for a moment there. All right. So April 26th, 2019,
Wow.
Avengers Endgame hit. And that pretty much is a summation, the finality of not just Avengers Infinity War, but also pretty much a total of the first three phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe as it's been put in front of us, starting all the way back in 2008 with the first Iron Man. Like I said, 22 movies in total, 11 years. And yeah, this was pretty impressive. So impressive that during the opening weekend, it made upwards of around $1.3 billion worldwide. Domestically, I think it was something like 500 million or something like that. Or no, I think I'm overshooting that. I think it was actually
400.
Yeah, it was closer to 400 million. But yeah, it was over 1.2 billion worldwide and broke all sorts of fucking records. Huge cultural event, not just here in the States, but worldwide. In fact, because we are doing this review 1 week later, the worldwide total right now as it stands is at an estimated $1.914 billion. So it's going to go ahead it's gonna. Well, to put it in context, Captain Marvel hit 1.2 billion in 54 days in the theaters. Avengers Endgame did that in 2, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, that's what we're looking at as far as this particular media event. Cultural event and everything else. So what we're going to do is, like with every review, we're going to go ahead and we're going to address this under our normal format, what we liked, what we didn't like, or if there was anything that we found in there that we would change. And instead of, references of things that we think that they might go to set up in the future, at the very end, our last portion will be what we think they might be going to now that, the summation of the first 3 phases of the Marvel Cinematic Universe is pretty much done, and some of the major players are out of play. So, yeah, first thing, let's go ahead and let's go over, $1.3 billion in opening weekend says a lot for any movie, no matter what it is.
Yeah.
So, obviously, a lot of people went to go see it. And generally speaking, there isn't that many very bad reviews. What are you guys' thoughts on the particular movie? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What's going on?
Love the movie. Love the fact that everything that they led up to, and it was right on point. I wasn't disappointed with any of the lead up to get to this point, and for them to work their way around not totally insulting us and saying, okay, here's the end, and then just having just one big 2-hour freaking battle. No, they didn't do that. They actually had a storyline to go and fix shit, and things were messed up there was still character arcs in this damn movie. Regardless of how they're going to fix things, there were still arcs. There was ups and downs and still stories being told, but I liked it all the way around. What about you, Gray Mouse?
Yeah, I think the movie did what it was supposed to do. It was a complete and, because when I left the movie, I asked myself a question. I asked myself the question, was this worth 11 years of movies? Was this worth 22 movies or 21 movies up to this one? And that's a resounding hell yeah it was. But a couple of exceptions in between, like the Hulk and stuff. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, it did what it was supposed to do. And yeah, I was thoroughly satisfied. I felt entertained. It didn't seem like 3 hours. What about you, Rob?
Well, yeah, I definitely enjoyed the movie. The reason why I bring that up is that, this is one of those, like I said, this is one of those rare things that happens. Well, actually, with Avengers Endgame, this is a milestone thing that has never happened before. Okay, where
usually movies will do this in trilogies.
Yeah, where you have like not just a shared universe, but a huge expanded universe that is, like we said, has spanned 10 years or 11 years of time, and now, as far as everything in the catalog, 22 movies. And they actually went out of their way to go ahead and reference back to things that happened in some of the TV shows, too.
Right.
So much so that if I'm looking at Rotten Tomatoes, and I know Rotten Tomatoes, they are owned by corporate entities and other things. But at this moment in time, the critic reviews, the professional reviews are sitting at 95%. And the fan or user reviews are sitting at 90%. So, yeah, I would have to sit there and say that universally saying over the 433 professional critics and the 26,431 user reviews that, yeah, this is probably pretty much universally liked as far as it goes, okay? Mm-hmm. And it's liked for reasons, which is what we're going to go into right now. What are some of the reasons specifically, you guys, that you liked, or what are some of the specific things that happened within the movie that you liked, that you really enjoyed, and why?
For me, I like the fact that it was a lot of doors were closed. It wrapped up certain people's story arcs, and it also opened up some story arcs as well. With actually the movie, throughout the movie, created different story arcs, with Loki disappearing, in the past with the Tesseract. So it's very interesting, where they're going to go. And so, yeah, I mean, it was like a lot of doors closed, a lot of doors opened.
He didn't just lay out to say that, okay, we just got to the end here and everything is just going to go perfectly right to end Thanos and to get everything back, to get everyone back and things go back to normal. There were still losses in this movie. Yeah. And there were still mess ups in this movie. As I said, there are character arcs. There are people that were broken. Hawkeye was broken. Thor was broken. Regardless of how much comedy Thor was, yeah, he was broken. And unlikely scenarios that happened in the movie that made sense as far as things coming together, like Ant-Man. He was one of the hidden aspects as far as being the hero, quote unquote, for things to actually start and actually bring hope, right, to fixing things. But I liked all of that. Yeah, that was
to add on what you're saying is that the Rat is the true hero of that.
That let him out of the quantum realm.
I'm just saying.
Wait, without that, nothing would have been set in motion.
The Rat is a true hero.
Yeah.
When you think about it.
Yeah. Well, I don't want
everybody that gave up, moved on, accepted that shit.
Their faith.
Yeah.
Because they already 5 years earlier they cut off Thanos' they cut off this from Thanos.
You just had to work it in there, didn't you?
Yep. Yeah, my gauntlet. No, my gauntlet. But yeah, they cut this off. They cut his head off because Thor went for the head this time. Yeah, but 5 years later, we didn't think there was going to be a jump
that far, right?
And the things, but
well, see, the 5-year thing, they needed the 5-year thing to show the characters that are broken.
Oh yeah,
I mean, because
that was an advancement to show.
Right.
Yeah, but what were you going to say, Rev?
Well, I think without going ahead and giving Endgame the full Raiders of the Lost Ark treatment, we can go ahead and we can debate about how everything, who the true hero is and how all the other heroes are just periphery and useless in comparison. But the one thing about this particular movie is that it truly is an ending to where the final parts of Phase 3 for the Marvel Cinematic Universe is setting up. I'm okay. All of us here in this particular video are unabashed geeks, okay, and we live and we thrive on this stuff. The thing about it is that, I don't think I would be completely out of line on saying that if we sat there and said, okay, I wouldn't mind if another one of these comic book Marvel movies don't come out for a long, long, long time, because I'm so satisfied with the end that they went ahead and they did with their efforts thus far. That's kind of where I feel I'm at right now, because a lot of people were talking about like comic book fatigue or superhero fatigue and everything else and all of that. Generally speaking, the reason why you end up with like superhero fatigue or any sort of genre fatigue is a lot of times Hollywood goes ahead and they ride the genre in the ground, and then the year or two leading up to the point where people are saying, all right, we're completely done with this, those products that are coming out within that genre completely fucking suck. Okay, and that's just the truth. All right. It happens with a lot of things thematically. It happened with Western. All right. It happened with musicals. It happened with a lot of animated movies that were coming out that were trying to be like Disney and everything else. The reason why a lot of the people went ahead and said, all right, we're tired of that shit is because guess what? The last few offerings that you gave me, all right, when you first started doing this, it was great. Now it's shit. Okay, you were willing to go ahead and give me all the effort and all the time in the world and all the money in the world to go ahead and give me a good product. But now, at the time that we decide to go ahead and pull the plug, people are leaving in droves because guess what? Everything you've offered them is crap.
What?
No, I don't think you can hold that.
Hold my beer.
But with this particular one, this movie, I'd have to say suitably, it went out of its way and it said, hey, look, we're wrapping everything up here. In fact, we're going to go back and we're going to touch back on even some of the movies that you thought were complete and utter shit within the previous parts and the previous phases of the MCU. And we're going to give them new meaning and emphasis.
Right. Even some character.
And to go ahead and bring the character and help the current crop of Avengers characters, along their overarching story arc and everything, and how they develop, and wrap it up in a way that not only shows that the people who are handling this gave a fuck, all right, but they handled it with the utmost care and attention to detail. Okay, there's a lot of times where I sit there and I go out of my way, and within our reviews for like Young Justice and other things, I sit there and say, call me weird or whatever, but I'm really entertained in seeing superheroes just doing shit like regular people, sitting around and talking like regular people. And more so in this particular movie than any of the other Avengers movies or any of the other Marvel movies. You had a lot of downtimes where you had just particular characters sitting there talking things out, actually acting like real people. All right. The whole scene where Black Widow is sitting there. She's eating a peanut butter jelly sandwich while
Peanut butter sandwich.
she has all of the other, fucking displays open, and she's getting reports from other people of all the shit that's going on, whether they're in different parts of the planet or different parts of the galaxy. And then Captain America walks in and they start doing that whole conversation and everything. It's like, it kind of reminds me of any time you might be, I don't know, find yourself at work where you're like, fuck, I'm going on break, but people are asking things or asking me to go ahead and do things, or they're asking for fucking reports or an update on XYZ, whatever. I want to go ahead and I need to eat something, but I can't fucking stop working, all right? Just showing like, hey, no, at their core, these characters, just like any good character, is like normal person. They're normal people just like you and me, all right? And that was one of the things that I liked, amongst many, many other things, all right? Was there anything else that we wanted to go ahead and mention and pile on that, like any particular instances or anything like that before we move on to part 2?
No, we can move on to part 2.
Okay, all right. So, one other thing that I'm going to go ahead and throw on is that with this particular movie, they did go ahead and one of the things that I really, really liked besides that was that if you ever found yourself wondering, okay, why should I care about XYZ character or anything else? Like the one character that a lot of the folks went ahead and said, I don't give a fuck about, it has been Hawkeye ever since the first fucking Avengers. All right? Seriously. Okay? A lot of people, generally speaking, out of all the characters are like, why the fuck would I care about Hawkeye? He has no powers. He uses a bow. We already have Legolas. I have no reason to go ahead and fucking care about this guy, all right? But literally, the movie opens up giving you a reason to care about fucking Hawkeye. Because he's sitting there out on the farm, going out of his way. He's having fun time with the family, teaching his daughter how to sit there and shoot a bow, and she hits a bullseye and everything else, and he's having fun. He turns around, he's about to go ahead and pick up shit. He looks around and his daughter's gone. All right. All you see is a little few black specks floating in the wind, right? He turns the other way where his other family is at, and you see the same thing, little black ash floating in the wind. And it opens up like that, and it's fucking heartbreaking, all right?
At least you didn't witness them turn to ash.
Yeah. I mean, but if you walk away from this movie not giving a fuck about Hawkeye, then I don't know. I don't think it's a problem with the movie. You must be sociopathic or not have a heartbeat, all right?
It's funny because as soon as it opened up like that, I sat there and I was like, oh, no. Because you knew what was coming. They weren't going to show Hawkeye and his family without that happening. And that's why I was like, oh, no. This is... Damn, that's jacked up.
It's messed up, but it's also something that obviously happened to everybody in the world,
Yeah.
But yeah. But yeah, let's go ahead and let's move on. Okay. Let's get on to the part where we talk about what we didn't like the movie, or if there was anything within the movie that we thought was missing or that we would have changed, what we might have changed. Okay. Guy, floor is open.
Okay. I mean, I have like certain gripes, but I only have one major one. And that stuck out to me more than anything else that I was waiting for. Avengers! Assemble. I'm like, you could have said that louder, Cap. You should have said that louder. We've been waiting for this for 22 freaking movies over 10 years. You should have said that much louder. Say assemble much louder. Everyone didn't freaking hear you. I don't give a damn what they say. What? He was using comms? No, I don't care about that. What about you?
Jeez.
Yeah, that bothered me.
I don't really have any. Well, yeah, right. The whole girl power thing really kind of stuck out to me.
oh, when they showcased the women.
Right. Not because of the women, it's because that scene that scene had nothing to do with anything at all. You could have done the whole fight without having that scene in there. I felt that was thrown up there just because of today's political, ecological climate that we're finding ourselves in. But
I can agree with that, but that was
it was completely unnecessary.
I think it was cut short.
It's completely unnecessary. Okay, if you're going to go that way, I could agree with that too. If they would have expanded on it and actually be, because all they did was seen a group of the women standing there like, "Arr."
And then they ran toward the battle, and then they did certain things, and then they cut to something else.
Right, and if they would have went and actually followed the women characters into battle, and have them showcase their whatever at that time, their skills, that would have made sense of that scene in there.
Because it kind of happened in Infinity War too.
Right.
But not at that scale.
And then, so the next little gripe I have is that if anybody has been living under a rock for the last 11 years, maybe some grandparents want to go see the big movie with their grandkids, and it's a family affair, right? Because when we went, there's a lot of family there, right? So, can you sit here and just say that if you're completely removed, could you enjoy that movie?
Without
seeing zero, I'm great granddad, and I want to be with I know that this is movie that my family is going to go see, that my grandson is going to.
I think you will have to know at least Infinity War before you've seen this.
Right, and so I understand that this was made, like you said, Rev, at the beginning of this, that this was made for the fans that's been keeping up with it for 11 years. It just was. For somebody, and there very well could be moms and dads that know nothing. This is the biggest thing right now. It's been on the news. It's been everywhere, And let's go, hey, let's go to the movie. So expecting somebody who's not watched a movie at all sit through a 3-hour movie.
But then again, it's not really meant for them. If you didn't.
Right. No. What I'm saying is though, but you know what I mean? So I felt that maybe they could have added a little bit of more substance to it, as in, like, okay, I don't know any of these characters. I know these characters in passing, but I don't know the storyline. I don't know the sacrifice that these characters have made throughout the 11 years of the Marvel Universe. Cinematic Universe, rather. So, I did feel like, if I was somebody who didn't know, just to go out with my kids or whatever, or if I was a grandparent or whatever, I'd be lost. That'd be a really boring 3-hour movie. However, I put that comma in there because if I was looking at it from that perspective, it was a good action movie. I may not know what's going on, but I will say that it was a good action movie. But I think that, it is a combination of 11 years of watching the movies and understanding the ins and outs of all these characters would really make it fulfilling to where, like, we all sit here like, yeah, you know what? I'm at a point to where, not because I'm fatigued, but I'm satisfied that I could wait 5 years for the phase 4 to start kicking off. Mm-hmm. I'm completely satisfied with the story arc. But can you say that to somebody else or after a 3-hour movie sitting there? That's the only thing I'm saying. Maybe I'm splitting hairs here.
You're not. No, you're not. Because the thing is that I think at the very minimum they'd have to watch Infinity War first.
That's what I said. Yeah.
Right. So, and that this was the movie to see this summer. They've been announcing this, right? And that's one little gripe that I have, but it's not really a gripe. That's it. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, it's just that.
Yeah. As far as like better self-contained movies goes, Infinity War is a little bit better than this. I
can watch Infinity War and be like, okay, I understand what's going on.
Yeah. Okay. with this particular one, you would have to at least watch Infinity War before jumping in.
At a minimum.
Yeah, that's the only one that will really cover you
Right.
for most of everything.
Otherwise, the first hour of this movie is like you're jumping in at a loss. Why are these people so fucking sad?
Right. Why is the Earth desolate?
But then again, even at the big battle scene, there are certain people that were there that were never really in the battle before.
Yeah.
Or that weren't in an Avengers movie before. They were in other movies.
Right.
Like Wasp.
Pepper.
Pepper. That was a big cool
Like, who is
thing.
she?
Like, wait a minute. Wait. That's not Wasp. That's not War Machine. Pepper?
But
She's flying around.
But you wouldn't even know if you had to watch Iron Man 3. to understand
Right.
But the thing is, though, you wouldn't even know that character at all.
Unless
Because she's not on the poster or anything. You're like, huh? Who's that?
But she was in Infinity War. She just didn't.
Right. She didn't have a suit
on, but she was right there with Iron Man, and there was at least story with them.
And I feel sorry for those people that were under a rock or just don't know any better. You know? And it's like, because I was 100%. Well, yeah, you got grandparents and people like that haven't been following this.
Yeah.
And I would feel, it was excellent for me. But for those who didn't follow it as closely as a good nerd would, I'm just kidding, as somebody like us would.
But what about you, Rav? What did you like and what would you change?
Yeah.
Well, some things that I didn't like. All right, of course, we went ahead and we brought up the one thing that could kind of be nitpicked is the whole thing with the rat being the biggest hero of the story. All right.
Yep.
That's an aside, okay, and that really is something that you can use as trivia. I'm just going to leave it right there because folks can go ahead and debate about that later. Okay. The like you said, Gray Mouse. Maybe this movie isn't the best movie to go out of your way to go ahead and see by itself. But if you're going to sit there and say, all right, well, maybe we could put something in to go ahead and to help explain to people who haven't seen previous movies who these people are, then we end up with a 4-hour fucking movie. All right? That's where we're at with this. Okay?
I feel you. No, I understand 100%.
We obviously can't do that. Okay? But, as a concern, as a movie, as a standalone movie, it has to be something that's taken into consideration, right?
Definitely not a standalone.
No, it's not.
Some of the things that I that kind of bothered me was okay. We have certain things that are going on, like they go ahead and they set up the rules for time travel and all the interactions for time travel, and they go out of their way and they say everything that is there. We'll go ahead and we'll just fucking forget, right? Because we're not alternate. We end up splitting up into alternating timelines, which create alternate dimensions, which is also a really, really easy way for them to go ahead and actually go back and have movies or TV shows for characters who are obviously dead by the end of this movie. All right. They say that, but then when it kind of wraps up at the end, there's a few things that happen where you're like, oh, well, so if XYZ things happen in this particular timeline, what about these other characters? And then you think, oh shit. Like, for instance, okay, so Cap goes out of his way. He's supposed to return all the stones back into the original timeline at the exact point that they're supposed to be at.
Right.
When he does that, he doesn't decide to come right back to the point where he left, which was at the end of the battle in 2019. Okay, he decides to stay back in World War II. He hooks up with Agent Carter.
Mm-hmm.
Lives a whole fucking family and everything else like that, right? So that, according to their rules, that really shouldn't go ahead and impact the way that things happen with current timeline, right? Or their prime timeline. But there was one person who was woefully missing at Tony Stark's funeral and everything. Sharon Carter, Agent Carter's niece or great grandniece, was not there at the funeral, and she played a huge part in Captain America: The Winter Soldier, and also Civil War.
And Civil War.
So was that just conveniently, oh, hey, somebody isn't available to go ahead and shoot these particular scenes? Or is that an actual consequence of something that they told us straight out not to give a fuck about when they relate things? Okay, that's a little deeper. On a surface level, it really kind of Thanos wasn't anywhere near as interesting in this particular movie as he was in the previous movie.
I agree.
But you kind of accept that for the fact that this movie wasn't about Thanos.
It wasn't about, yeah, exactly.
Was about Thanos. All right. This one was not about Thanos. So we kind of have Thanos ending up relegated to Marvel villain XYZ to fill in a particular role for this particular movie. All right. So he kind of falls into that trope. Okay. That's something that kind of bugged me, because I really liked the Thanos from Infinity War. All right. Yeah, he was a psychotic bastard, but I could see his point. Okay. That was one thing. All right. Thinking about another thing from like comeuppance from Infinity War, the Hulk had no part of the final battle. So there was no chance at all of the Hulk having any sort of comeuppance to what happened to him in Infinity War. All right. Because the one thing that I was kind of looking forward to was, all right, so Hulk's no longer regular Hulk. He's Professor Hulk now.
Yeah.
But, he's got all of his faculties and he's not torn and actually using his powers and everything. Is he actually going out of his way? Is he actually willing to go out of his way, jump into the battle and go one-on-one with Thanos again? Which I was hoping that would happen, but it didn't.
But he was out of commission because of the other gauntlet that they made, and he's the one that snapped his fingers.
I mean, he did have a significant part of the battle by snap. He got put on the gauntlet, and then all the people came back.
The only other thing that really bothered me was the gauntlet itself in this movie. Why? Because it was made from Tony Stark's armor. Now, the original gauntlet was specifically made to put these stones on it so it can handle their power. And when Thanos snapped with it once, it ruined the freaking gauntlet. So you're telling me that can ruin that gauntlet can be ruined, but Tony Stark's armor can't be when it wasn't specifically made for these gems?
You know what's really weird? I just thought about this. Like when they would go and kill Thanos, he still had the gauntlet on. I'm wondering if after he snapped, the gauntlet fused to his arm.
Maybe, or he was just wearing it because the gems were gone because he snapped again and made the gems disappear, and it almost killed him.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. And I think
I see that. But that was one of the other things that kind of bothered me. It's like, wait a second here. Gauntlet was specifically made for these,
right?
But Tony Stark's armor wasn't. But it can handle 2 snaps. That kind of bothered me.
One snap was on the gauntlet, and then the other snap was just.
Oh, you're right. The one snap was on that gauntlet, and then the other snap was on the other. Yeah, you're right.
On his armor.
But still, that gauntlet wasn't ruined.
Yeah.
That kind of bothered me. But
maybe the Hulk and Professor Hulk and what's his name made a good one.
Maybe
a better one than.
But no, that gauntlet was fused from a freaking dying star. No, I'm not hearing that.
Yeah.
No, I'm not hearing that. And Tony Stark's armor. No, I'm not hearing it. But
and it's supposed to be the equivalent, to Stormbreaker. Yeah. So I'm kind of
or Mjolnir. No.
Yeah.
No.
So. But was there anything else, any other tidbits that we wanted to go ahead and point out, like any sort of instances within the movie that kind of bugged us that we want to go ahead and point out at this time?
Not bugged, but...
Well, not bugged, but was an interesting. I really hate the time travel cliche trope. It's been done, but the thing is that the movie was self-aware enough to know that it's a trope.
Yeah,
which was impressive that the Russo brothers actually did that. I was like, you know what? They did put that in there back, Back to the Future references, Doctor Who references.
Yeah.
They did all these
Bill and Ted
They did all these references in pop culture, about the cliche of time travel.
All that was bullshit.
The time,
what?
the whole time travel to fix everything.
Trash can. Remember that? No. It didn't go like that.
And then one thing too is I'm finished. I was just rambling on here. Go ahead.
Okay. All right. So now that we've got that out of the way, we mentioned what we liked about the movie. We mentioned what we didn't like about the movie individually. Where do you think they're going to go now, since things are going to wrap up? Now, the only thing we know so far is that, supposedly Chadwick Boseman is contracted for more Black Panther movies. Benedict Cumberbatch is contracted for more Doctor Strange movies.
Yep. Spider-Man Far From Home is already around the corner.
He is right around the corner. Brie Larson is contracted for more Captain Marvel movies. And there's going to be a third Guardians movie. All right.
No, that has to take place.
Yeah. So where do you think they're going to go from here?
The Ask Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah. Yeah. Where do you think they're going to go from here?
That goes right. That goes right. Good.
The Ask Guardians of the Galaxy.
Thor's going to join the Thor and what's his name? Shrill or
Quill.
Quill. I'm sorry, Quill.
Star-Lord.
Star-Lord. They're going to be fighting. It's going to be comedy, and the rest of the crew is going to be sitting back and enjoying it.
Since all those sequels can come out, they can actually work to a big baddie from that. With after credit scenes and mid credit scenes and stuff like that. So
after Thanos, who's next?
And certain people were never introduced here.
Right.
Like Adam Warlock. But where do we go?
Right. Like who is the person behind the scenes pulling the strings, if there were?
No, there wasn't that.
Because the thing is like in canon, right? The freaking Thanos did this to impress Death.
Yeah.
Lady Death.
But she never showed up.
Right. And so I don't know. I mean, they could go that arc. They could bring in, certain characters that they just recently acquired. Fantastic Four, So, and then, but the only problem with that is that, correct me if I'm wrong, they kind of killed that idea because the one link that would bring those guys in died for the Soul Gem. So
they can still bring that together, but there's that whole thing.
It would be Black Widow doing it. That's our point.
Right. That's the point that I'm making. Right.
We wouldn't be the one making the direct connection unless her movie, if they do make her movie,
that's a prequel. Her movie's going to be a prequel, so that's out.
Right. So I don't know whether. I mean, I was thinking bigger. I was thinking Galactus is the next one.
They'll probably make a build up for that, especially involving Captain Marvel.
Or who's that other character? The one above, or was that the one beyond?
Or the Beyonder?
Yeah. There's people that have motivation to cause problems for the Avengers. Mm-hmm. Just saying.
Well, the Avengers that are left. Iron Man's gone. Captain America's retired. Black Widow's gone. And Vision it didn't even come back. So he couldn't come back because he didn't have this. So again,
there's other ways that he can come back.
Because
old girl, what's Black Panther's sister's name?
Shuri.
Shuri. I think she successfully downloaded Vision's conscience into their a mainframe that's in Wakanda now. So that could be
at least most of it, yeah.
Right, and that could be the arc to get him back, maybe. Without that.
Without this. Okay. Where do you think they're going, Rev?
I don't know.
What do you think they're going to go next?
Well, I know for sure what they have to do, and they would be stupid not to go ahead and do it, is that Disney is going to make it a mandate that they go ahead and rework in the IPs that they lost or that they didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when they were under the ownership of Fox.
I said it, okay. I said it before and I said it again. Chris Evans is going to be the Human Torch again?
Or, you know what, now that you mentioned that, man, you know what, Rev? Dr. Doom would be right there above. Yes.
What about enemies coming together? Like Dr. Doom, Kingpin.
Yeah, and doing like a Legion of Doom.
Right.
They've had multiple times in the...
right. I'm just saying, that would be a big enough...
Break the Vulture out of jail.
Exactly. That would be enough baddies to gain the attention of a group of superheroes. But, I mean, Dr. Doom, I mean, come on, man. He's powerful, man.
Yeah. I would sit there and say that, there's where I think they're going to go next, and I don't know if it's going to be something that they're going to be able to put into action that we're going to see within the next year or two. Because if it was something that we're going to see in the next year or two, we'd already see, with the internet and everything being connected to this the way it is, we'd already be seeing news about, oh, hey, Marvel's casting for the XYZ movie, and they've already got this guy cast for this particular role.
Who is going to be the main focus hero now? Since Iron Man's gone, Captain America's gone.
I'm pretty sure they're still going to stick with the Avengers. I just don't know who.
No, I mean, because Iron Man was the starting point. So who's going to be the starting point now?
Don't know. I really don't know.
Spider-Man Far From Home is the next movie. And Nick Fury's there with him. Is he going to be the starting point to launch?
I mean, if you do, you know what, now that you mentioned that, because you mentioned a couple of Spider-Man's arch enemies, that would bring in, you got Mysterio has already been, for his. And
you think they can do Carnage correctly?
With
the next couple of movies.
But the thing is, though, doesn't Sony own everything Spider-Man right now?
Yeah,
so that's completely out. Unless we don't know how big the deal is for Sony. So but I would actually think that they would need to bring in like the Fantastic Four and Dr. Doom. And maybe even the X-Men. Okay. And those guys will be the focal point. Because, what's his name?
The wonderful thing that we're talking about now, 22 movies and 11 years in, is that they don't need a focal starting point.
It's a clean slate.
No, it's not even a clean slate. They just need to be able to intelligently go ahead and create interweaving, connecting threads between the movies. All right, it's really a case of, okay, who shows up in the next mid credits or end credits stinger on XYZ movie?
Right.
That's really all they.
That's going to be the hook.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because the cool thing about Nick Fury, when they had Samuel L. Jackson going ahead and running around, they had S.H.I.E.L.D. set up for everything. It made sense for him to show up in everybody else's movie. All right.
But the thing is with that is that he is running out of movies because I think he was only signed on for a certain amount, and I think that amount is close.
Well, he isn't Far From Home.
Right.
Well, here's the thing. All right. When they went ahead and they did the connection between Doctor Strange and Thor, they didn't need to sit there and have Nick Fury in there.
Right.
And the Avengers are set up as a pretty much an institution. They really don't need Nick Fury to go ahead and show up someplace else. They really just have to go ahead and.
But Captain America and Black Widow were that backbone, and now you have to have someone else there as that backbone.
But even then, with with
story, so.
with Ant-Man, they had Falcon show up, within the actual movie itself. As far as
true.
yes, indeed, they are part of the connected universe and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So they just need to be able to be smart with that connecting stuff.
Yeah,
I think right now the weird thing about it is because Disney and the folks over there running the MCU have been so silent about it. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to see like another connecting movie in the further phases. All right, as far as the start of Phase 4 and everything else, until probably around the later end of 2020, maybe 2020.
Yeah, at least for now. Mm-hmm.
For the way that it's.
So what you're saying is that it won't be another 10 years before we get the payoff of Phase 4, 5, and 6.
It might end up being longer if they decide to try to do that.
There's in Marvel universe is fucking endless. I mean, it's just there's a plethora of characters.
Or they could make other characters household name, like they gave us Guardians, Ant-Man. They could actually do that.
Yeah, it's just right now they still have to play that game with IPs and everything else. What I think they're going to do, though, and this is what I think everybody suspects, is that when things do start cropping up for Phase 4, they are going to sow those seeds to sit there and to introduce Professor Xavier's School for Gifted Students and, the Baxter Building with Reed Richards as its leading researcher. They're going to introduce those guys as soon as possible.
Do you think Deadpool will be thrown in there?
Possibly, but they got to find a way to go ahead and tie him in. I mean, because people are already going ahead and they're going out of their way and they're theorizing that maybe if they do go ahead and they start branching out to go ahead and connect, like Fantastic Four and X-Men and everything else, that, hey, didn't they mention something about earthquakes off the coast of Africa underwater? So maybe that's, referring to possibly sowing seeds for the Nemorians, possibly, So, I mean, because here's the thing. If the Nemorians and the Atlanteans, they didn't care anything about what was going on with the surface, having half of their people go ahead and just disappear in a wisp of smoke, maybe that would have caused them to actually become interested and coming up and saying, hey, motherfuckers, why do you guys keep on fucking things up for us? I mean,
right.
I mean, that's something that's possible, but yeah, it's just one of those things that, unfortunately, right now, I really don't know where they're going to go, and I think it's fair to say that right now, with the way that the Endgame happened, maybe that's not a bad thing.
Absolutely, I think a clean slate would be good at this particular point in time. Not a clean slate per se, but they can go anywhere. They can branch out to anything.
They're not have to rush.
Right. They're not. There's nothing that's really anchoring them onto a single plot.
Right.
All they know is that right now, all we know is we got the new Avengers, new faces, and Yep. Sounds good.
So if we don't have anything else to add on to it, although it's a no-brainer now. Okay, final verdicts, guys, on a scale of yay, nay, or meh. What is your verdict for this particular movie?
Yay, there's no question about that. Gray Mouse?
Yay, there's no question about that.
No surprise. Yays all around, including me. Yeah, there's no question about that.
Echo.
I mean, the thing is that here's the thing that I'm really scared of is that the reason why this movie was so successful is that they were able to do this literally over 10 years and 22 movies.
Over 12 years in a long period of time.
Yeah, and it wasn't one of those things where, none of these Hollywood superstars ended up dying or fucking OD or anything like that, or ending up doing something stupid that would get them completely booted out of Hollywood or anything like that. So yeah, this really is if you consider all the circumstances surrounding it, is actually rather miraculous that we've actually been able to get to this point. Okay? Because literally, when Robert Downey Jr. was first being cast for Iron Man or for Tony Stark, a lot of people were like, hey, isn't this the same guy that Hollywood just a little while ago was saying that they weren't going to cover him at all and that he was for insurance or anything like that? You know,
his movie career was completely done.
It was non-existent at the time that people mentioned it. So, yeah, now he's like literally, you know, one of the highest paid actors in Hollywood of all fucking time. So,
I mean, $2.9 billion. That says a lot.
Yeah. Like I said, you know, that's that's a lot going on. You know, $1.9 billion worldwide for Avengers game. Yeah. You know, as of the time that I looked up Watch Mojo, which actually only includes up to Friday of this particular weekend. So, yeah. I'm pretty sure that by the time this weekend is over, they're going to be over 2 billion. And yeah, that's just phenomenal for, you know, I don't think that's pretty much record setting right there. But enough of us going on about this. As always, folks, what are your thoughts on Avengers Endgame? What are your thoughts on our review? We know it's late and we know it has spoilers in it, but guess what? We said that right at the beginning of everything. So if you're complaining about that at this time, 30 or 40 minutes later, I really don't know what the fuck you're doing. All right. With that, we want to know what you think about this. You know how to go ahead and let us know. Leave us comments. And if you really appreciate what we're doing, you show that appreciation by subscribing, turning on those notifications so you'll know whenever we go ahead and drop any new videos, whether it's by ourselves or altogether as middle-aged guys. All right? With all of that said, all of our bullshit on this review for Avengers Endgame is going to end right here. I'm the Reverend.
The Theme here.
And I'm Gray Mouse One.
All forms of entertainment has the right to exist, even if you don't like it. And yeah, like this gauntlet. Nope, can't snap. Can't do that. Can't do that. Can't snap fingers. Trust me, I tried. And so has everybody else here. Credits.
I think that's rather a good thing.
What if Satoru Iwata, when he was doing the Switch unveiling, was wearing the Infinity Gauntlet? How many fuckers would be left in this particular video right now?
Really, Rev? Really?
Maybe just my pinky, because, yeah, he snapped that shit just so many times. But, yeah, that's okay. We're done.